This is NDTV, and you're watching Classics.
Hello and welcome to the Unstoppable Indians. Every week we take a journey into the life of an outstanding Indian, a person whose talent, acumen or moral example is transforming India. The best, the finest from every field join me, Manvi Dhillon, on this show to share their life story, their journey to success, the knocks along the way, what made them get up and keep going, what makes them an unstoppable Indian. My guest today is a man who dreams big and then makes it happen. He's the face, the heart, the soul of the biggest consumer revolution in India, the telecom revolution. And from what we can tell, this is just the beginning. The next chapter, retail, financial services, agriculture. There seems to be no stopping. Sunil Mittal, Chairman and Group CEO, Bharti Enterprises. Sunil Mittal, thank you for joining me on the Unstoppable Indians. I know how much pressure there is on your time. People who work with you, they say, you know, you're highly focused, you're a workaholic, yet you never blow a fuse, you're very down to earth, and you never seem nervous. Do you think that's a fair description of how you are at work?
I would say broadly, yes. I mean, I don't lose cool. I have never had an occasion to shout at anyone. If I am angry, then I internalize the situation and deal with it.
And there's never any sign of nervousness?
Well, you can never say never. The stakes are very high, and at times you worry about the large enterprise that you have built up. When attacks come from, very, I would say, unexpected quarters. But broadly, I have that strong resilience about my attitude and the strong belief that there is a large part of our life which is preordained.
Speed has been a great ally, has been a great strategy for you, hasn't it? Bharti and you are synonymous with speed and agility.
Speed is very important to us. In fact, when we had no money, no resources, the only weapon we used was speed. And in fact, we used to have a slogan which said, if you're caught between speed and perfection, choose speed, perfection will follow. Of course, things have moved now. We do now say quality first, speed always. That change has taken place.
Let's talk about telecom a bit. You know, we've got the quarterly results fresh in our mind. And in the year to March 2008, of course, profits up 57%, revenues up 46%, but call rates are down, margins are getting squeezed. And yet, in the same breath, there you have India, which has overtaken the US as the second largest mobile market in the world. I want Sunil Mittal to tell me what is the next chapter in this dramatic Indian telecom story.
Oh, sure it is. There's no doubt that telecom has been an outstanding success story in India. To be the second largest in anything in the world, and more so in a very vital infrastructure area, is truly commendable. And while we will claim a lot of share of the success, I think successive policymakers have also played a role. While the regulation has been sometimes not even-handed, but broadly it's been progressive and it's been moving the whole process further. I think telecom is a story now which has its future written in the stars. India will have 500 million phones in 2010. In sometime before 2020, India will have 1 billion phones. So clearly it will remain now the second largest market in the world outside China and will be comparable to China in the next 10 years. Broadband story has to start. I think that, to my mind, would be the next big wave, where India, if it has to become a knowledge society, will need broadband connectivity, and we are all waiting for that to happen. It appears that it's on the horizon finally now.
You know, you've just spelled out this massive opportunity that's not going away anytime soon. It's attracting new players into the field. Bharti has been extremely resilient, but when you look into the future, you know, how are you going to define the USP? Because it will get crowded, then there'll be consolidation, but it's going to stay competitive. So how do you carve out the Bharti Airtel?
Well, I think I can say we are fortunate now to have crossed the economies of scale hump, if I may use that word, because we are now at 1 billion minutes a day, actually a little over that now. Anybody who's coming into this industry with 30, 40, 50 paisa tariffs, which are prevalent now, and has 20, 50 million minutes a day, is going to find it very difficult. I think we have now built a very strong defense mechanism by the large volume that this country has provided us. If you look at the pecking order, out of the 7 existing operators, we not only stand at #1 position, but the difference between us and the second is fairly large. So people have to play the first round in the pre-quarters, quarters, semi-finals to get to us. So I think we have a very strong position in the marketplace.
You know, a few years ago, I'm reminded of what the IBM chief, Sam Palmisano, said. He said, when he was introducing you at a conference, he said, this company is on a rocket to the moon. Do you still feel like that all the time? Or is it like some of the time you're on a rocket to the moon and not all the time?
No, it's never all the time. Gosh, it can never be that way because you have to pause, halt, consolidate, and then move on.
You know, you can be so radical when you want to. And I'm rewinding a bit to 2004. You decided to outsource your network. Everybody watching you was shocked. They said, my God, how can you do this? This is the heart of any telecom service provider. You did it. There were a lot of skeptics. You were right. But at moments like that, do you ever doubt yourself and say, my God, is this too big a risk to take?
Well, we have. It's true that we have done some path breaking, and at times people say it's religion breaking activities, because when you do things which have not been done in the industry for 100 years in the Western world, and suddenly this young, raw Indian company wants to attempt things like that, it does cause shock, including within our system. There were lots of people. In fact, the chief of networks within Bharti was a strong opponent of this. And therefore our board, which constitutes a lot of experts from the world, were not very happy. So those are the times when I actually put my neck on the line and to say, well, I have gone through it, I think it's great, I will offer my neck on the line. If this doesn't go right, I will hold myself responsible. So you take those chances and move on. The fact is, whenever we are driven to a decision which is very, very critical, I think we get a lot more strength to do it. And every time people have said, we don't think so, you can do it, and he says, just watch us.